Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C and the good old boys from down south. I want to say bienvenidos to all of our listeners in Latin America and also across the pond and London, England, as well as Paris, France, and of course you good old boys from Canada. You know we love you. Oh, Canada. Big C sounds like Whoa Nelly, but there's no one we love more than you good old boys down south in the land of the free and the home of the brave. Big C, how's it going for you good old boys?
And it's raining also at the same time, but I'm also being manipulated by my dog. I'm sitting here rubbing her belly, and yet she should be rubbing mine because it's bigger than hers.
That's so funny. I think that dog thinks she looks a little bit like the deer, and she knows what she sees with deer up in that skillet, so she's going to be nice to you tonight, Big C. I do want to say today is a beautiful September 21st, 2017 in the land of the free and the home of the brave. Have a lot of things going on in the world of sports. Football down here in the Bay Area on the peninsula.
What do you got going in the Bay Area?
Well, it's called a football game, but I think a lot of people think it's tomorrow because there's not a lot of walk-up crowd tonight with the Rams and the 49ers. Used to be just a magical game.
The high school games are on Friday.
Well, I think a lot of people think of the same thing too, Big C. I want to tell you a funny thing that I saw. Earlier they did a skit and they had it was Mariucci and also Michael Irvin. They were doing the play of the catch and when Montana hit Clark, and they had Mariucci playing Joe Montana, and they had obviously good old boy Irvin playing Dwight Clark. But when Mariucci threw the ball to my good old boy Irvin would not go into the end zone, Big C. He ran out of bounds before the back of the end zone. I said they're trying to do a vision of the play, but Irvin couldn't score against the Cowboys. His heart just wouldn't let him do it, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, once a Cowboy, always a Cowboy. Didn't want to see him go down. To emulate that play, which, created the history of the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah.
As far as that great power Super Bowl run that they had, Charlton, under Bill Walsh and George Seifert.
Yeah.
So this was a team that was built by the Bartolo family, Charlton. And,
Yeah.
Was a once proud organization there in the Bay Area. It's fallen on hard times, and, they have this game tonight. I don't know if it's a preseason game or a regular season game. We know it's not a playoff game, so,
well,
hopefully, they can get off the side.
Well, obviously, and I want to say this segment is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go by and test drive yours, tell them Charlton and Big C sent you. So obviously, when you look at the proud organization, the 49ers, they did everything right, but they're 0-2 on the season. And I guess they were right. Colin Kaepernick was the problem. They got rid of him when they haven't scored a touchdown since, Big C. Ironically, it was Kaepernick that used his legs and his arms to beat the Rams down in Los Angeles last year at the end of the season. And for people, again, because stats don't lie unless you're coming from the White House, but he has 16 touchdowns, 4 interceptions last year. He only started 8 games. Big C, that's on mark for a very good season for a guy that can't find a job. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, I really have to look at the 49ers and the way they are this year. And really, it starts with Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah.
The new head coach of the San Francisco 49ers. You got to realize that and all these sports aficionados out there, and especially these analytics guys.
Yeah.
You got to look at the last 10 quarters that Kyle Shanahan has been involved in coaching a professional football game. Charlton.
Yeah.
His offense has not scored a touchdown. In the last 10 quarters, the last 2 quarters of the Super Bowl, Charlton,
Yeah.
and the first 8 quarters of this regular season, they have not scored a touchdown. Now, my math is not that good. I'm not a very smart man because
Yeah.
those guys do not have a great education.
Yeah.
Also managed that, Charlton.
Yeah.
But Colin Kaepernick started 8 games last year, 9 games last year, whatever it was.
Yeah, it was 8.
And he threw 16 touchdown passes. Hold on, let me get my pencil and paper out.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's 2 touchdowns a game on average. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
2 touchdowns a game. Now, there's 2 NFL teams this year that haven't scored a touchdown, so that 2 times, both of them can use Colin Kaepernick, Charlie.
Yeah, and when you think, yeah.
Those statistics and analytics. And I want to add this one other thing. The big cry about Colin Kaepernick is he did not stand for the national anthem, okay?
Yeah, yeah.
Now, I want to ask every sports fan in America, whether you're at a high school game, a college game, or a pro game, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, hockey, or even girls soccer. Okay?
Yep.
When the national anthem starts playing and you got a beer in your hand, okay, and a hot dog in the other, which hand do you put across your heart? Okay, this is what I want.
Yeah.
The most challenging question, and ladies, I'm going to omit you from answering this question, okay?
Yeah.
I'm going to ask all the guys. When you're standing there at the urinal and the national anthem starts playing, which hand do you put across your heart?
Isn't that amazing? Hey, I love the national anthem, but I'm not putting down my $10 beer for nothing, Bixie. I'm going to hold it in my hand and salute the flag. But, obviously, the great thing about the 49ers and the Rams, they get to start from scratch. I guess that's not a good thing, but it could be. The Rams are 1-1 in the season. But I will say about the Rams, even though that one win came against Indianapolis, and they didn't know what city they were playing in at the time, Bixie. But they're 1-1. Yeah, they thought they were a little bit farther north of SFO instead of LAX. But the Rams have outscored their opponents plus 30. The Niners are minus 23 against their opponents. And you have Gurley's actually averaged over 100 yards a game. We thought they should have used him more last year, even though they were trying to get Jared Goff a lot of press. But Gurley's the key to that team if they're going to have a decent season, and a decent for them Rams might be 6 games. But Gurley's running the football. I think that's the answer for them. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, I look at this game, Charlton. This game is being predicated on the ground. Now, you think about it, Carlos Hyde had over 120 yards rushing last week for the 49ers against Seattle. We know what type of defense that Seattle has.
Yeah.
But he's also got to be licking his chops coming into this game, Charlton. The Rams defense gave up over 230 yards rushing to the Washington Redskins last week. And we don't even know who's carrying the ball.
Yeah.
So this is a game that, if the 49ers can get Carlos Hyde off and they can block for him, it may, relieve some pressure for Brian Hoyer. He might be able to throw the ball, Charlton, more than 12 yards down the field.
Yeah.
But, this is a game where Jared Goff is at his coming out party, going back home, playing in the Bay Area. Because last year he didn't even dress for this game in San Francisco against the 49ers.
Yeah, and I know.
It's going to be his first chance of starting a game in the Bay Area, Charlton, since he played at Cal 2 years ago.
And that's a very good point. Obviously, he's had more fans at Cal than you may see at the Niners game tonight. And people just aren't buying whatever it is. They're not buying this losing mentality, because the average fan has Google on their phone, and they can Google 16-4 touchdown to interception ratio. Doesn't matter if you don't like the guy, if he helps you win. I don't think back in the 85 Bears, I don't think Mike Ditka got along with his quarterback Jim McMahon, but he liked him enough to win a Lombardi Trophy. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, that was the fact, Charlie. He knew what the players needed.
Yeah.
The players needed a quarterback that was savvy and part of them. And Jim McMahon was that, known as the funky QB.
Yeah.
But he was a player's player. He didn't care about the coaching staff all that time. But the coaching staff, Mike Ditka, also knew he was a rebel when he played. He was a revolutionary type. He played in the NFL with the Chicago Bears, later on with the Dallas Cowboys.
Yep.
He was that type of player that was edgy. And so he knew as a coach, that's the type of player he wanted. There was a love-hate relationship with he and Jim McMahon. But he could not replace Jim McMahon because Jim McMahon won for him and his teammates.
Yeah.
The 49ers don't have that same scenario any longer, Charlton. This is an organization that's out there fishing. They're using excuses for losing. And that's the sad part and the sad state of professional football now. You build a brand new stadium, and you put one of the worst products in the NFL in that stadium, Charlton, since that stadium's existence. You've taken the best players that you had in that franchise in the last decade and passed them all to the wayside, saying for whatever economic reasons or whatever. Nobody in the NFL is losing money. They have these huge television contracts that Roger Goodell has negotiated for all the teams. So when nobody shows up at the game, they make money. But the one excuse that cannot be used now in the NFL, Charlton, with the attendance being down in the first 2 weeks of this season already, 15% of what it was last year, is that Colin Kaepernick is not driving fans away from the NFL as that was used last year.
No, they can't use that at all. In fact, I want to bring this up. There are several players that met with the NFL, Roger Goodell, and of course, Damari Smith, and talking to some of the league officials about having a social activist month. I guess it's talking about the month of November. It's really about having the NFL get behind unity for the teams in their cities, for the players in the league to do what, guess who? Colin Kaepernick started doing, putting his money where his mouth is, going out and talking to organizations. And I think the NFL has started being a part of charities in 1973, and they also support cancer. Big C, I think it's a good thing. It's really about criminal justice reform. But until we get Congress and our civic leaders to help pass criminal justice reform, we can take a knee all we want to. There's still black men going to prison at the 7 times to 1 at the incarceration rates of their white counterparts for the same crimes. Big C, your thoughts?
One of the things that is many sports leagues and even broadcasters will say, well, sports and politics don't mix.
Yeah.
Well, they have to stop that lie.
Oh, it mixes.
What is the NFL, Charlton? It's a non-profit organization.
Yeah.
That's political, okay? You have to be political to be non-profit. And that's what the NFL is. So the NFL personifies political involvement, Charlton.
Yeah.
Because they deal with Congress every year. And then when the president wanted to tweet in about the NFL, that's all politicizing the league, Charlton. The NFL takes political stances all the time in every community, Charlton.
Yeah.
So to say that the NFL is not politically involved, they have players that saying, hey, I don't want to speak on this subject because, I'm a white player, so I don't get stopped and profiled by the police.
Yep.
I live in that neighborhood that they expect rich white athletes to live in. And when a black athlete lives in that neighborhood, it's not the norm. So I don't understand why they get stopped because they make the kind of money that I make.
Yeah.
I want to go out on and praise one athlete, Charlton. I want to praise Chris Long.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chris Long this week donated his first 6 game checks, Charlton.
Really?
Okay. First 6 game checks to the community of Charlton as far as for community relief and,
That's beautiful.
for community involvement, being socially active.
Yeah.
Chris Long is not going to get that notoriety because he's a white ball player, Charlton.
Yeah.
And the white public, the white media don't want the public to know that white athletes take these stances.
Yeah.
Chris Long grew up in Charlotte, Virginia.
Yeah.
So he understands that community divide. But he also wanted to put his money where his mouth is, just like a Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah.
But the media doesn't want you to know that white athletes can be activists also.
Yep.
So the story about Chris Long won't get a lot of fuel in the mainstream. They're talking about he donated his first 6 game checks to the community for social activism in Charlottesville, Virginia, Charlton.
Yeah, and I think he did a great job. In fact, there are a lot of white men starting to speak up. They're not afraid anymore. I mean, it's always been black men that had to get beaten over the head for civil rights. It's always been black men that had to speak up about ending police brutality. It's always been black men that made the box office bigger. When it's boxing, if black men are involved, the box office is bigger. When black men are involved, the NFL makes more money for all their teams. When black men are involved, the NBA makes more money for all their teams. So black men have always been the leaders and the vanguards when it came to social change. That's why we love Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I want to bring this point up too, because another issue that can scare people, but there's no need to be scared. You have the CTE issue. You have, unfortunately, we have the gentleman, Aaron Hernandez, who lost his life. I guess they called it suicide. Who knows what happened? But his fiancée, Shania Jenkins, is suing the NFL because she's saying that they hid the fact that he had CTE. And as a young man, they found a lot of it in his brain because science is more accurate than praying about things. See, so if they open up that Pandora's box where your fiance can sue the league, is that a good or bad thing for the league? Mix your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, this is something that is a case that should be thrown out right away, okay?
Yeah.
Everyone plays athletics because they want to.
Yep. He wasn't forced to. Yeah.
And you can't blame his criminal actions on having CTE.
No.
You and I have discussed this on many occasions that, the NFL gets the notoriety for CTE. But this starts in youth football in America. These violent collisions that go in these scenarios where you don't have doctors.
Yep.
You don't have psychiatrists. You don't have trained medical staff around the practices with these youth football players.
Yeah.
That you have these so-called coaches who come in who are frustrated high school players a lot of times, forcing these kids to go into violent collisions because they couldn't make it as a player.
Yeah.
And so it goes unsupervised. These coaches, they're not trained properly.
No.
So there are so many youth athletes in America, Charlton, that suffer concussions. Even in soccer, they suffer concussions. But you think about the number of Pop Warner players in America, Charlton. You think about the number of high school players. And we've talked about the plethora of college athletes because of concussions.
Yeah.
Aaron Hernandez was 27 years old at his death.
Yeah.
But what this proves, Charlton, is that he was in stage 3 CTE
Yeah.
at 27 years of age. And most people want to say, well, it's only the players in their 60s and 70s, the people that are like Big C.
Yeah.
You know, I know I've had CTE for a long time, Charles, and I fight it and work with it in every way that I can every day.
Yeah.
Okay? But it's the young kids, Charles, and just like Aaron Hernandez and younger than 27 years old, that it's proven now that they suffer from it.
Yeah.
So what is the parental obligation in America? What is the sports obligation in America, Charles, about CTE for the youth? I mean, we can talk about it all day long about millionaires having.
Yeah.
Let's talk about crazy athletes. That's what the problem is.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Big C. I do want to say that sports is a billion-dollar industry, and boys and girls sports is the foundation to this billion-dollar industry. For every industry and sporting event, you need athletic and event insurance. We work with Ben and Mark. They've been around half a century, and they work with Big C Sports. And when you reach out to them, they can insure your pro athletes, your college athletes, your high school players, even your mom and pop soccer leagues, and let them know that Big C sent you. Big C, kind of a trivial thing. We just talked about the power of the black athlete, and is it great when you have people who are not shaking in their boots? You have people who act like men and not like little boys. And whether they're right or wrong about society liking them or not, Dr. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, they were great leaders. Whether you love them or not, they took a lot of hate for standing up for what's right. And maybe this doesn't even matter. I'm not even saying it's the same level. But Jay-Z declined to perform at the halftime of the Super Bowl, the #1 event in the United States of America, because he doesn't want to support a league that endorses discrimination against black athletes, standing behind Colin Kaepernick. Look at the plethora of black American talent that's performed at the Super Bowl, from Michael Jackson to Prince to Beyonce, Bruno Mars, Diana Ross, Whitney Houston, Black Eyed Peas, Stevie Wonder, Missy Elliott, Usher, and on and on and on. I'm proud of this black boldness that's willing to tell the truth like Dr. King. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charles, it's time for a stance. There's enough economic power in black America to make a stance.
Yeah.
To make their feelings heard. It's almost like when Dr. King was leading the civil rights marches, Charles, and when they had boycotts in cities where they would not ride the buses, where they would not visit certain, concessionaires.
Yeah.
And so these people felt the economic impact of that.
Yep.
Now, that's what it takes in America. You have to have a wave effect. And not just African Americans, Charles, but it has to be joined by Americans.
Yeah.
To have this stance to say, we can't tolerate this anymore.
Yeah.
We have a president that believes in narcissism in America.
Yep.
That believes in a separate society.
Yeah.
Even though he doesn't say those words, he shows it through his actions. That this is all I want.
Yep.
I'm not concerned about the people. I look at his stance when he talked about building this wall. He hasn't talked. We haven't heard anything about him sending out a sympathetic message to Mexico with the great earthquake that they just suffered.
Nope.
He has not talked about these people needing aid and help, Charlton. This is the narcissism that he is as the president, and this is what we have in society. When we have prominent black people that we're not going to take it anymore.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden America will stand up.
Yeah.
We've heard it in music, but now we have to have it in stance.
Yeah.
When you don't perform at these venues,
Yep.
when the desire is to have you, and you make it public the reason why you're not performing,
Yep.
then America will understand.
And now, I love what you just said. Warren Buffett, obviously one of the wealthiest men on the planet. They don't know how much money Big C has, but I hear Warren Buffett, you guys live in the same neighborhood, which I understand Big C. But supposedly a mentor of Jay-Z. Now, this is what I love about being black. I mean, I love all people. All life came from Africa. You can Google that, Dr. Leakey Gregory Miller. Just Google it. Came from the northern region of Africa, according to science, okay? And when I have people who are just willing to say what's right, things that you can Google, like we just said, Google the original, the organization, and where men came from, where life came from, just Google it. All it means is we all are the same people, just have different skin colors. But when you have someone who's a billionaire, Jay-Z, and also Beyonce, he doesn't have to cow down to the I guess the status quo because he's rich. They say only poor people can speak out. Rich people don't want to get involved. AKA Michael Jordan from back in the day never said anything other than buy my shoes. I appreciate and respect so much more men like Jay-Z because his kids can look at him and say, not only is he my dad, he's a man. And that means something that you don't have a dad who's a sycophant shaking in his boots because he doesn't want to lose $2. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, when you think about Jay-Z's stance, I parallel that with the sports writers and broadcasters in America. Well, all they want to do is talk about black athletes and how much money they make, and that them being spoiled and not looking at things. They
Yeah.
do, but what these broadcasters do, Charlton, is they won't allow the athletes to talk about social issues. These are the parts that they edited out of their interviews.
Yep.
This is not what they want to hear. Just tell us about the game. Why you scored this many points. Why you had this many yards. Why you blocked this many shots. Why you had this many things.
Yep.
This is the only thing they want to hear about an athlete. And so when that athlete talks about social issues in his neighborhood, in his state, these things are edited out. This is the reason why you don't see live interviews any longer with athletes, Charlton. Everything is tape delayed and edited, and you see these splice sections when they put them on these highlight shows.
Yep.
It's not just a clear cut. You know, it's like when they had Charles Barkley on today.
Yeah.
And he was talking about the NBA players are big babies. They took everything
Yeah.
and spliced together to make it like it was one continuous film. You missed a lot of the important things that Charles Barkley said.
Yeah.
But this is what happens, and this is how you silence black athletes, even white athletes, Charlton, who are activists. You splice together what they say. You take the excerpts of what you want the public to hear, and don't expect the public to notice that the picture is not a continuous. It is popped in and out.
Yep.
And so this is how you hide the message of athletes, Charlton.
Yep, Big C, that's a great point. Another thing I'm hearing a lot, I don't know if it's you, but I do a lot of DVR recording, and I still got a VCR that works, but I keep hearing on all the major broadcasts, especially here in Northern California, something I haven't heard since the last really 2 years or so. I keep hearing people saying back in the day. You know, back in the day, because we started saying that so many times. I hear a lot of people saying it. In the old days, I heard people say back in 1984, or back in 1979. Now everybody's saying back in the day. I had a teenage boy come up to me and say, "Hey, I like your show. Back in the day, we didn't hear you guys talk the way you guys talk, the way you guys talk now, Big C." He was stuttering, but he still said it. You understand what I'm saying, Big C?
Well, Charlton, I want to give a shout out to everybody who listens to our show and plagiarizes everything we do.
Yeah.
And I want to give a great big shout out this evening to Richard Sherman.
Yeah.
Okay. I believe in our show, I believe it was last Friday, Charlton,
Yep.
when we talked Thursday or Friday.
Yeah.
And I talked about the injury report in the NFL.
Yeah.
Why is the NFL the only professional league with an injury report?
Yeah.
And I talked about so that Vegas and
Las Vegas, baby.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay? It was ironic today that Richard Sherman used the same lines that I used last week on Thursday or Friday during our show, Charlton.
Yeah.
That the NFL has an injury report.
Yep.
And why does the NFL have an injury report? So that the odds makers in the books can get the spread right.
Wait, don't give up my sources, Big C. Don't give up my sources, Big C.
But you know, it is true, Charles.
Yeah.
So why is it so important to issue an injury report?
Yep.
I know back when I played, there was no injury report issued, Charles.
Yeah.
I mean, you went out there and you played whether you were hurt or not.
You guys were tough.
You might not have practiced a couple of days, but there was no official injury report issued by the league. And now teams get fined.
Yeah.
If they don't issue an injury report or put a certain player on an injury report, Charles, you can receive a fine as a team. Why is that so imperative that the league is in parallel with people who are earning money? And you think about gambling, and Richard said it best. This is supposed to be a league of non-gambling. You think about it, players have been suspended
Yep.
for gambling. We talked about Paul Horning yesterday.
Yeah.
He's been suspended for an entire season. We talked about Jake LaMotta, the former boxer who passed away, had been suspended for 2 years by the New York Athletic Commission.
Yeah.
You know, they talked about Pete Rose being banned from the Hall of Fame.
And that's a joke.
For gambling. Yet the NFL is an advocate for gambling by having that injury report, Charles.
Yeah, when you got your money involved, a lot of people pay attention, Big C, just like being down here. And I look at the greatness of the 49ers, it just feels like they moved too far out to the suburbs. I know they're trying to go down here to Silicon Valley where all the money's from, but they got to understand that's tech money. Up there at Candlestick Park, that's a lot of moonshine money. They got money too, they just don't pay taxes on it, Big C. The ambiance is not here. And that's why a lot of people don't come around. Even going back in the day when we were at Candlestick Park, I remember when it opened, you had Willie Mays playing there when it wasn't even a complete stadium. They didn't have a hard time getting people to go there around Hunters Point. It was only about 11 miles out of downtown San Francisco. Now they're about 45 miles south. So the ambiance is not the same. It's hot in this stadium. Candlestick Park, you have to have a jacket in the summertime. So they changed the whole climate, and I wish they could have done it. You know, down here, there's something they're famous for in the South Bay. these tech billionaires, they'll buy a mansion that's 5,000 square feet, may cost $10 million. They'll tear it down and build a 10,000 square feet mansion that costs $10 million. Could they tear down this stadium or relocate it back up to some part in downtown San Francisco? I'm not even talking silliness. They move buildings all the time. Is that something they should realize? We made a mistake. Let's not keep that mistake for 30 and 40 years. Let's go back to Northern California, or at least in the downtown San Francisco area. There's a lot of room. Big C, your thoughts? Yeah.
Downtown D.C. because they wanted to move away from the inner city.
From the inner city.
They wanted to move out to suburbia. They felt if they moved to suburbia, that they could get a more affluent fan.
They wanted the white fan, Big C, basically.
That affluent fan has not been going sitting in a hot stadium.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they can afford the lap of luxury in their home. They can put an 85-inch screen television up.
Yeah.
And get that full effect like they at the arena.
Yeah.
But, one thing I would be remiss for, Charlton, if I didn't mention it tonight. Former San Francisco 49er and great actor Bernie Casey passed away today.
Oh, wow.
Bernie Casey was one of those great athletes who played football in the early 60s, late 50s. He was a member of the San Francisco 49ers, Charlton. He retired early.
Yeah.
Like other great athletes, Jim Brown, Alex Karras.
Yeah.
These type of Rosie Greer.
Rosie Greer, yeah.
They left the playing field, Charlton, and went into Hollywood.
Yeah.
Bernie Casey was a leading role man as an African American for decades in Hollywood.
Wow.
He played in some great movies, Charlton. He lost his life today. He was born in 1939. He passed away. But Bernie Casey was one of those athletes who transcended into the real world, Charlton, from non-athletics to prolong his life and his career in Hollywood.
Yeah.
He was a great player, and he was a great actor, and he'll be sorely missed in the African-American community, Charlton. He was also a social activist.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Big C. So, and our thoughts go out to his family. He had a great life, and so many people have had a great life because of sports. And we know that no matter what side of the fence you're on, sports is a great industry. It's a great business, and it's a chance for people to really speak their minds and say what's right, whether you're Colin Kaepernick or even back in the day, Jim Brown, when he had more of a consciousness before he met with Donald Trump, and who knows how much money he gave him. But it's nice to have men stand up and put themselves on the line. Muhammad Ali did it better than everybody, Big C, as far as I'm concerned. I do want to ask you one more thought before we get ready for this game to kick off tonight. With all the things going on in the world of sports, do you see football being different 30 years from now the way that it is different now 30 years from the past, Big C, from back in the day? Your thoughts?
You have to wonder how will football be structured 30 years from now. We've seen the evolution from where football was 30 years ago, where stadiums were packed. Fans loved to be there because you didn't have social media. You didn't have 300 broadcasts on a Sunday of a single football game, Charlton.
Yeah.
You had to experience a live event. You got 3 games on a Sunday, Charlton. You had 2 games played at one time. You had a prime time game.
Yep.
Now, there's too much football, Charlton.
Yeah.
There's not a night of the week without football in America.
Yeah.
So too much of something is never always good for anybody, Charlton. It's like sitting down where you should just have a scoop of ice cream. You end up eating the whole half gallon.
Yeah, are you good old guys? Instead of having a bite of deer, you guys eat the whole thing, Big C. Is that what you're trying to say?
I can't help myself at times, Charlton. That smooth, it's like instead of having a shot of moonshine, you have a glass of moonshine. Okay?
That's funny. That's so funny. Yeah.
When we long for football because we couldn't get enough, and we appreciate what we had. That's like anything. When you go to a fine restaurant, Charlton, and you get that petite filet put on your plate.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Versus going to a buffet where you see a lot of gluttons. You can tell that the health difference of people who eat at the buffet all the time.
Yeah.
Restaurant.
That's a very good point.
That's what the NFL has become. It's
Yep.
become the buffet.
Yeah.
Where we have people who have become gluttons and have consumed too much.
Yeah.
And they're no longer interested in the quality. It's just put something out there. And that's where the NFL has been watered down. When we look at the league, Charlton, there's 10 teams in the NFL that really don't participate.
That's a very good point, Big C.
That's all they're doing. They're paying players. They're not participating in the league.
That's a very good point.
Happened because we have an oversaturation of television.
That's a really good point, Big C. I just got to say, every Monday through Friday at 5 and 6 p.m., follow Big C Sports worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C, the good old boys down south. We always want to tell you, never excuse for domestic violence. And as we always tell you on every Big C Sports show, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.